All right, guys, so let's get this last little logistical piece out of the way just so we can actually get into kind of some of the fun stuff, which is, finding our perfect clients and how we're actually going to go about signing them on to become paying customers, right? And so there's two ways to kind of go about doing this. The first way is, you use your own business manager, right? The business manager that you've used for running your own Facebook ads, with your own credit card and all of that fun stuff. And the second way is that you actually get your clients or new customers to actually sign up for their own business manager, because 99% of the time, a dentist or a doctor or whatever is not going to have their own Facebook ad account. They're not going to have a business manager. They may or may not have a Facebook page, but it's very likely that they won't have their own business manager, right? And so I kind of outlined the two different ways here. There's kind of an easy way and a hard way. And what I recommend, guys, is to do it the easy way for at least the first month, because kind of when you're signing on new business and you're finding new clients and you're actually kind of starting to make, it's the most difficult at the beginning. I wouldn't say very difficult, because it's definitely not very difficult, but it's most difficult at the beginning. It's just like any other business. Kind of getting that initial momentum is always the hardest part, and then once you kind of have it, everything just really starts to roll. But once you kind of have your first client, your first few clients, things really start to get a lot easier. And the reason for that is because people, just are paranoid. They're cautious, I guess. When they're, learn something new, they aren't used to it, and because they're not used to it, they're more hesitant to, spend money. And Facebook ads just kind of seem like this like crazy thing that they've never heard about, and it might be a scam and X, Y, or Z, right? So we want to eliminate as much potential friction or reason for them to back out of, the transaction and actually hiring you on as their Facebook advertiser. And one of the ways that we do that is by just making it very seamless, right? So I don't like to have, walk my clients through setting up their own business managers for the first month. For the first month, I usually just say, once we kind of agree on things, and I'll show you the template on, how to actually sign them on, the terms, all of the paperwork that you'll be sending back and forth and things like that. We'll talk about that later on. But once you kind of do that, right, what I generally do is for the first month, I run ads for them in my account, and I actually pay for the ads, and then they reimburse me that cost. And it's very, very easy to show them exactly what they spent in your account on ads related to their business, right? It's very, very easy to say, okay, the dentist spent $400, the doctor spent $300, and then show them that the proof, and then they'll pay you that the cost of their advertisements plus your fee to actually run those ads for them, right? And so there's kind of an easy way, which is what I recommend, using your own business manager for the very first month. And then there's kind of a harder way, which is walking them through setting up their own business manager, setting up their own Facebook page if they don't have one, and then adding you as an admin to their business manager, giving you admin access to their page, so you can actually run advertisements from their business manager, from their ad account, using their their page, right? And so let's go through the first one, which is using your own business manager. So I made this kind of like as a template, so you guys could literally just copy and paste it. And then obviously you'd have to like fill in your email section to be your actual email. But you can literally just send this to your new potential clients, because this is the easiest way to kind of get them on board. And then after kind of 1 month, after you've showed them some real results, after you kind of have that relationship built, then I do recommend walking them through how to set up their own business manager, because then their ad spend will just charge to their own cards, and you can manage their account how Facebook wants you to, because Facebook Facebook has very interesting and detailed and long and vague terms of service, and so they could potentially get mad at you for running ads for other companies, but we've done this successfully for a long time. So what this kind of says, guys, is send all variations of your logo. Having their logo, as like a PNG, for example, just is really kind of useful, and you kind of need it to be able to design ads, right? Because when you're going to design ads for them, I usually pay about $5 an ad from my designers that I found off Fiverr and Upwork and things like that. It's super, super easy. You can just go into Fiverr or Upwork and type in Facebook ad designer or just graphic artist, right, and tell them the dimensions of the ad. And so when you have their logo, it helps. List of zip codes that you'd like leads from. This is important because for like big cities, for example, like, San Diego or New York or, Los Angeles, you can literally drive for like an hour and not be to the other side of the city. So like having the zip code helps versus just, typing in San Diego when you're running ads for them, like typing in, the actual zip code that's the most close and like where they get most of their customers from, just because dentists generally kind of set up in locations kind of far away from other dentists where they kind of dominate the landscape, which is why they have lifetime customers. And people don't want to drive 45 minutes to get to a dentist very often when there's one that's 5 minutes away, unless the one right next to them is terrible or is whatever. Written or video testimonials from clients. This is good because like if they have reviews and things like that, you can feature them on the landing page. Social proof, like we've talked about throughout this whole course and everything that I've ever taught, is so important because with the internet now, and people are just used to it. Like if you go to a product, there's hundreds of reviews on Amazon, right? I usually read the reviews. People just trust other people. People trust social proof, and that's why the more social proof that you have for anything you're selling, whether it's a product and you have reviews of that, whether it's like a course or an educational product or a digital product, and you have reviews of success stories of people who've made your tactics or methodologies or strategies work, it puts people at ease that if other people can do it, they can do it too. Which is why it's so important to kind of play up the fact and talk about the fact of how amazing their dentist is, or their physical therapy clinic is, or whatever the case may be. Right? High resolution photos of your business / team / location, preferably with smiling people in them. This one is super important because generally, for local business ads, showing like a, picture of the actual business and in your ad being very specific and saying, hey, Las Vegas, like, do you want to see like the craziest, most like amazing dentist in the world? Or like come see this dentist in Las Vegas. And having a picture of their actual kind of location with their team in it, of all of them smiling, even if they don't have one, it takes like 5 seconds for them to, go out on an iPhone and take a picture of everyone like in their lab coats, like smiling in front of their dentist place or like in front of a dentist chair or whatever with good lighting. And it's really important because people react to seeing smiling people in photos, right? We've talked about that. We've talked about what people respond to from an advertising perspective, what catches people's eyes and things like that. Step 2 is how to set up their Facebook page. If they don't have one, most people will have one. People kind of from a basic sense set up at least like some type of Facebook page. But again, it's super, super easy to actually set it up. You can just send this to them. And then how to make them how to make you an admin of their Facebook page, right? Because you need to be able to run ads from their Facebook page. And so they need to make you an admin of that Facebook page to be able to, actually have access to it in your business manager and then choose that Facebook page when you are running ads for them. Right, so it's super easy, and this is the easiest way. This is what I generally always recommend people to do for month 1, just to eliminate as much friction as possible. Don't make them do any work at all. Prove your results, and then once you prove your results for a single month, right, you'll completely have them. You'll have them by the absolute collar, because you're going to be making them a lot more money than you're costing them if you're doing things right, right? So the other option is having your clients set up their own business manager, which means they pay for their own ads, right? And so we talked about how to actually do that here, how to have your client set up their own business manager and grant you access to run ads for them. So your client basically is going to create their own Facebook business manager just at business.facebook.com. They're going to create their own profile. They're going to, add their own page. They're going to add their Facebook page. And then they're going to have to create an ad account because remember, when you create a business manager, you still have to create an ad account to run ads from inside of your business manager. And so they're going to create a business manager, their Facebook page to run ads from, and then the ad account to actually, facilitate those ads. And then once they do that, they add their own billing information. And then lastly, within Business Manager, they need to add you as a user. And once they add you as a user either with employee or admin access, then you're going to be able to actually have access to that business manager. And then once you have access to that business manager, you can run ads for them. And so Facebook makes it very difficult to do these things. And these tutorials took me a long time to set up. So I hope you guys enjoy them because they're not that easy. So that is kind of the tutorial on how to actually set up Business Manager, right? Again, for the final time, I recommend the easy way, just running ads from your own Business Manager with your own card, just using their Facebook page and having them reimburse you. It's very, very easy to see how much ad spend came from a specific campaign related to them. Or if you'd rather, or they'd rather, they can use their own Business Manager and you can get on a Google Hangout. If they're gonna choose this option, I never ever recommend them to actually set it up by themselves. Don't just send them this link. Send them like a Google Hangouts, share screens, and actually have them set this up for themselves. And if you guys want to feel more comfortable kind of before you do this, I always recommend, right, do like kind of a mock one. Like I would call, your grandma or like your mom or dad or sister or brother or spouse or whatever it is, and actually pretend like they're a client and walk through this with them, like with your friend or family member or whatever, and just make sure that you know all the steps. It's going to go very smoothly because you don't want to be nervous with like a new client or whatever, and you've never done this for your first time. So I always recommend, do a mock trial, use a friend, pretend like they're a business owner, and actually walk through on a Google Hangout, literally walk them through how to set up their own brand new Business Manager, get the kinks out so you know exactly what you're doing, so you don't get like tripped up on the call, and just, you don't want to feel nervous or like you don't know what you're doing. So I always recommend doing kind of a mock trial here. And so that is how you set up Business Manager to use with clients, the two different options and which I use where. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and let's get to the next.